Tasha Butler. I'm the school-based therapist at Barton Creek Elementary, and I'm just hosting this part of the speaker series. For this session called Reflective Responding with Sumaya Luxton, I'd like to introduce her to you guys. Sumaya Luxton is a licensed professional counselor and registered play therapist with a private practice here in Westlake. Sumaya specializes in working with children and adolescents ages 3 and up. Depending on the age group, Sumaya utilizes play therapy, sand tray, mindfulness, expressive arts, and talk therapy. Sumaya works with presenting concerns of anxiety, emotional regulation, anger, ADHD, stress, self-esteem, depression, grief, life transitions, and relationships. So we welcome Sumaya to this section of the speaker series.
Thank you so much, Tasha. Are you able to give me access to share my screen?
Let me see. Sorry,
No worries.
maybe you can start talking while I do that.
Sure. Yes. Awesome. All right. Yeah, so as Tasha said, I'm Sumaya Luxton and licensed professional counselor, registered play therapist. I love working with ages, I say children 3 to 100 because I'm open to any any child's age there and work with a lot of teens and adolescents there. I'm just gonna start this so I can present. Awesome. There we go. I utilize a lot of, play therapy or can you all see this? Because I cannot see anybody.
I can see it, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So I like to utilize a lot of like play therapy, sand tray, expressive arts, mindfulness, because for teens and kiddos, especially sometimes that left part of the brain, that logical side of the brain, they're not able to activate the talk therapy stuff yet. So I like to use that right side, the creative side, to be able to process and process life and what's going on with that. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about reflective responding today. There's going to be kind of different sections, and we will get to that point first. So I want to do an activity first real quick, and then I'm going to go into the brain development so that we can understand reflective responding even more, and then kind of end with some self-care. So we'll have some different phases, some different sections for today, and I'll try to go through it quickly because there's always so much good information. And never enough time for anything. Okay, so if y'all have any paper nearby and pencil, or you can even do this on your phone, or if you're on a computer, kind of open up a Word document. I want you to create a typical teen, a dream team, a typical parent and dream parent. This can be you drawing it out, what these things look like to you, or writing out different characteristics. So I'm gonna give you a couple minutes to do that. And we're gonna you'll look back onto this as I present today. And everyone's just might have some similarities, might have some differences. So this is for you. So go ahead and take some time to do that. All right, I'm gonna kind of move on, but y'all go ahead and keep adding stuff to this piece as I'm kind of presenting, or if you think of anything else. And again, I want y'all to be able to look back on this while I'm kind of sharing information today, and looking there. So we have the brain. So our brain is like this home that's getting built, right? So we first start with the downstairs part of the brain here. And this is your brain stem. So your brain stem is the first thing that's getting developed. This is in charge of the things that we're not necessarily thinking about in our body. So our breathing, our digesting, maybe blinking. Everyone needs this part of the brain to be able to survive and have a life, right? Without this part, we wouldn't be here. So the foundation piece is that downstairs part of the brain. And then we have the stairs. So the stairs are the limbic, so the amygdala, the emotional part of our brain, right? So we need the stairs to be able to connect this bottom part, this downstairs, to the upstairs. And now with the upstairs part of the brain, this is our prefrontal cortex. And a lot of the times you're probably thinking, looking at your list here of the dream team, this is the like planning and thinking ahead. You might be looking at this dream team and being like, why can't my teen like think through things? Why can't they think ahead? Well, that's because this upstairs part of the brain is not fully developed yet, right? So this part of the brain doesn't fully get created until late 20s. So there's, even adults out there who aren't still, our brains aren't fully connected or functioning all the way as well. So this is kind of a helpful piece to look at the house and how our brain works, how it functions. We're going to be kind of looking back at that here. So our hand model. So Daniel Siegel, he creates this hand model for us to understand the brain even more. So again, we've got this brain stem that's like the palm of your hand, and part of that downstairs part of the house, right? So this is the breathing, our body is digesting, the things that we're not necessarily thinking about. So our brain gets developed from the bottom to the top, right? So that downstairs part, then the stairs. So this is the thumb, the amygdala. This is the emotional part, right? The emotional part connects the bottom to the top. The top are the fingers being the prefrontal cortex, and the fingers being our logical thinking, kind of thinking ahead in that way. And I'll be kind of talking about throughout the presentation of flipping your lid. So whenever our brain is fully connected, it's all in a fist like this. It's functioning this way. The stairs are in place. Our bottom downstairs is able to talk to the top, to the upstairs. This is when you're feeling calm and regulated. This is when you're not feeling a big feeling where you flip your lid and you are dysregulated. Whenever we do flip our lid, and any age, we all flip our lids, right? Kids do, teens do, adults do too. This is when the stairs is getting removed, right? So we're not able to get to that top part of the brain. Sometimes we may not be able to regulate ourselves, right? Because our brain is not together. It's not working fully like that. So we'll kind of be thinking about this as we talk through the presentation today too. So when it's together, it's working well. When we have a big feeling, it's flipped, the stairs are removed. How do we get back to a brain that's working all together again? So that'll be a big part of the reflective responding that we'll get to. Okay. And then Robin Goebel, she talks about kind of the different animal brains that we go through. So the owl, I like to think of as the one that we want to be. So this is our brain is feeling really safe. It's open for connection. We're feeling regulated. We're feeling good when we're in owl mode, when our brain is an owl. Then we have the watchdog. So the watchdog goes into protection mode. So this is where you might see your child or your teen have more like outward emotions, might be screaming, might be throwing, kind of thing like that. It gets activated when we're feeling kind of scared, worried, frustrated, upset, that way, the outward emotions. And then we have the possum. The possum is more of the inward emotion. So this it might be harder to spot sometimes. So this is more of like the sadness, the like into your body shutting down, more freeze mode of whenever our nervous system is not feeling safe. And that way are open like that. So another way to look at this is this window of tolerance. And I love this information because this whole presentation I'm talking about is helpful for any age, right? So this is helpful for kids, this is helpful for teens, this is helpful for adults too. So we have this window of tolerance, and this is how much our brains can handle before we get dysregulated. So as adults, we can handle more, right? Our brains are fully developed. We have just been through more life. We know our bodies more than teens do. So we can handle more before we flip our lid, right? Before we get dysregulated. And dysregulated can look like hyper-aroused. It can look like that watchdog of the volcano of outward emotions. You know, feeling stressed and screaming, or maybe like punching or kicking, maybe wanting to run away, right? That fight or flight there. And then there's also the hypoaroused, the more internal, that possum part of the brain, where we shut down and we freeze and we go more inward. And again, so because we have a bigger window of tolerance, it's going to take more for us to get to that point, right? To flip our lid. But as kids, as teens, their brains are they're still growing. They are still learning about what regulation works for them, what feelings feel like. So theirs is going to be smaller. Also, as you know, anybody who has been through trauma, your window of tolerance is also going to be smaller. So going back to the brain, that bottom part of the brain, the brainstem, that's being worked on and developed first. So if the brain has gone through trauma, it's going to be focusing on that piece of, okay, I need to know how to survive. My brain needs to know how to survive. I need to know how to breathe, how to regulate my body in that way of just the basic techniques there. So if there is trauma, then that window of tolerance is going to be even smaller. And with therapy, you know, therapy helps grow that window of tolerance with any age too. So you're going to see lots of different kind of models of the brain just to help look at it in different ways. So again, this is that bottom up figure. So we've got that brainstem, which is in part of all the inner work. So your blood pressure, your heart rate, body temperature. The midbrain is like the sleep and the appetite piece. Limbic is that amygdala, that emotional part, that attachment piece, which is going to be a very important part of today too. And then the cortical, that prefrontal cortex, the abstract thought, the concrete thought. So again, bottom up, that's how we get to the top part, is we have to start at the bottom. Okay, and this is the brain again, but using regulation. So to be able to get to that top part of the brain, the upstairs part of the brain, if there's like an outburst happening and we're just trying to go straight to reason, you might be like, I'm telling my kid all these things and it's just going in one ear out the other. That's because the stairs is removed. They are not able to listen in the moment because they are so dysregulated, right? So we need to work on the bottom part of the brain first. So we need to work on regulation and then relating and then reasoning. So when we do those steps, it helps, you know, calm the brain back down. And we're going to talk about different regulation pieces as well as relating pieces to get to the reasoning part. So again, the brain again, just in a different format of interventions there. Okay. Now we are going to apply the brain stuff. So I love Robin Goebel's, some of her concepts are really cool to remember and think about. So behavior is a clue. You know, sometimes we see our teens act out and we're like, what is going on? This is a lot. You know, having that outburst or that inner shutting down is a clue of like something's happened. I wonder what happened at school today, you know. I wonder what happened over the, you know, with a friend or, you know, whatever that might be. We all need connection to survive. Connection is so important. We have families, we have friends, like we cannot do life on our own, like individually. Like we have to have that connection piece. And then again, your relationship with your child is so important. You are the role model for them. You're the head of the household. Um, and then regulated and connected kids who feel safe will behave well. So again, going back to that owl brain, right? Of that safety and that piece there. Um, so I love this phrase, move it or lose it. Just a cheesy little way to remember, like moving our body helps that with regulation, right? So again, the brain, we want to start with regulation before we go to the reason, right? So regulation can just be like, hey, you're noticing maybe your kid is having a hard time, your teen, and you offer like, hey, let's go on a walk outside together, right? You're also relating. You're doing something together to move your body. So a lot of the times, in here I'll even see like kids will come in and they just don't want to be in the room. They've been at school all day. They want to move their body. So we'll go outside and kind of walk around and you know, feelings will be able to be processed and come up that way. And just feeling more calm, and more regulated too. I'll tell parents a lot of the time too is side-by-side action is really, really cool for kids to open up to. Because sometimes face-to-face can feel too much. You know, you see each other's faces and reactions, and that can feel like a lot. So I'll tell parents like, hey, go on a walk together if you know you're trying to you want them to open up about something, or you know, sit on like a bench together side by side, or even like go on a car ride where you don't have to look like face on, but you're also like spending time together. Okay, and then going into some sensory for regulation. So I'm going to start with touch. Touch can be a really big one for a lot of teens. You know, you've probably seen those fidgets. A lot of fidgets. Some of them really, really like. I have sand in here for sand tray therapy, and the kids love it. Like they'll go straight to the sand and they'll just like soothe in it and just kind of like dig, and they'll just tell me about their day and you know what's going on, and that's like a really regulating piece for them for opening up. So sometimes I'll tell parents like, can you get some sand, like a little sand tray or something like that too, for at home. Um, you know, warm bath, even like a weighted blanket that feels like, you know, like an animal's on you, or just even like a hug, you know, a hug might be wanted sometimes. Okay, so listening. And you'll notice some of these things that you see, like you're like, that doesn't work for me, some, you know, for regulation or my teen. I mean, that's okay. Like it's just a list of ideas and different senses for us. And it might change too. Like you might notice like this used to work for me, but not anymore, or even for, you know, your kids or teens. I know for my husband, like he loves like putting headphones on. Like music's not as big for me, but for him, like having something on his ears and like getting to close everything out, that is something that I see in him. That is very just healing for him, when he needs to just like let out, you know, let off some steam that way. Even in here, I have a sound machine that has like different noises, like rain falling or thunder, or even just white noise, that can just feel just calming, or, you know, take a weight lifted off of them. So vision, you know, watching a movie, reading a book. For those of you who've worked or have worked, you know, going into the office where it's like the bright lights and the fluorescent to keep you awake and, you know, make sure you're not falling asleep. We want to think the opposite for regulation. So I love the natural lighting in my room. I love the lamps that I have. I don't use overhead lights because it just feels more welcoming, it feels more calming in here. Even creating that space, you know, in their room or at home, you can do too. And then taste and smell, breathing. Breathing is a big one, a very big one. I notice like as we get older, I feel like breathing becomes like more of a necessity than it's harder to teach like children and teens like how to deep breathe and how that can be helpful sometimes. If you ever walked into Bath and Body Works in the candle section, I guess the whole thing is essentially candles, like the fall scents and how that just like brings me joy. Like I love the fall and just like lighting, like I have a candle lit right now as I'm presenting, right? So some smells can feel very just regulating and comfy for us. Okay, so you are very important. You're an important piece of regulation of coping skills, right? Um, we we are co-regulators. Our teens aren't going to be able to regulate themselves every single time. And why? Because that again, that upstairs part of the brain is still being worked on. So we get to be the lead and help in times, right? So the more we help guide and we're there for them in these moments, the more those pathways are getting created in the brain. It's like when you drive in the grass and there's no tire tracks yet, but then they get created the more you drive over and over and over. Like we are helping create this pathway for them. So I love this phrase. So be a thermostat, not a thermometer. I'm sure there's times where your teen maybe is feeling like really big emotions and you just want to like scream back and you're feeling the big energy, right? Our mirror neurons are constantly shooting off at each other's brains. They're constantly connecting, especially in the household, right? You're feeling each other's energy. You might be in a fine mood and then your kid comes home feeling really upset and then you are noticing in your body like, oh, I'm feeling dysregulated now, right? So we don't want to meet them where they're at. We want to be that thermostat and when it's really hot outside, we want to stay cool, right? We want to keep the cool. We want to be the role model. So how do we be that role model, right? Okay, and a lot of this is nonverbals. It's nonverbal skills. So it's not always about with what you're saying. What you're saying is a big piece, but also how you're saying it. So are you standing over them? Are you sitting eye level with them? Are you connecting in that way? Is your body relaxed or is it tense and you know hard hard eyes, clenched fist? Are your arms crossed? Like if I was presenting like this, it would look like I don't really want to be here and I'm like not engaged with y'all, like I'm not happy to see y'all kind of thing. But if I had my hands by my side, in another way. And the goals for nonverbals is to be open, to create that sense of safety, to be there for your teen. Okay, so reflective responding. Another way to say this is name it to team it. I like this in the way of remembering if I name a feeling, I'm helping calm that down. So when we have our lid flipped, we want to again get the brain connected all again. So when we're naming a feeling, the brain's is getting that information and it's helping calm the brain back down. It's helping put it back together. So we regulated and now we're relating, right? We offered a coping skill like, hey, do you want to go on a walk? Do we need to turn the lights off? Right? We offered that. Now we're relating. And this can be as simple as saying like you're really frustrated. You are blank. You are insert feeling here, right? This helps, just becoming aware of emotions and also helps with the relationship piece of my mom or my dad understands how I'm feeling in this moment. Like you are putting yourselves in their shoes and you're looking about how they're feeling. So just other kind of ways to say it, you're frustrated. Today did not go how you wanted, or, even more like happy feelings, like you're excited to share about football practice today. Or one you might see a lot if you feel it's not fair that today was really tough. That test was harder than you thought. And that way. So when we're looking at that dream parent, there's no perfect parent, but when we look at the dream parent, can I use these things to help get to that dream parent? Am I regulating my body? Am I being open to connecting with my teen? Am I reflecting how they're responding to the feeling? An example I like to give to a lot of my parents is you're driving, a lot of us drive, and we had to slam on our brakes before a car accident. And whoo, like I'm picturing myself right now, like having to slam on my brakes. And even my heart rate just got up, right? Oh my gosh, that was intense. It could have been bad. We could have gotten in a car accident. But if the person next to you is like, why are you freaking out? It's not a big deal. Like, we're good. Like, okay, that doesn't feel very, very welcoming, right? Very connecting. But if the person next to you was like, oh my gosh, that was really scary. Oh, that scared both of us. Like, I'm glad we're okay. Like, just saying that out loud, like, I just feel better in my body about hearing that. I feel more connected. So just another kind of phrase to remember: connect, then redirect, right? So we want to connect before we reason, like that part of the brain. So connecting piece before we're going straight to the reasoning. So if you're like if someone was drowning and you're trying to teach them like how to get out of drowning, like again, nothing's gonna stick. It's just gonna go in one ear, out the other. So don't teach in the moment. Let's make sure that you're calm and your teen is calm too to be able to get to the reasoning part. Let's regulate and relate. And as parents, we need care too. Life can be a lot. Life can be challenging. We've got a lot on our plates too. We have to be the role model of, am I taking care of myself? Am I being a thermostat for my family, for my kids? So some self-care, just basics, is really for your teens too, your kids too. Are you getting enough sleep? Did you eat today? Are you being active? Am I taking breaks throughout the day? Was I able to laugh today? Um, I if you still have the paper out or anything, I want you to commit to a daily self-care. For me, it's going on a walk every night, walking my dog every night. That move it to lose it kind of thing. Am I able to exercise? Can I read a book before bed every night? And then I also want you to commit to a weekly or monthly self-care piece too. So if you're able to write at least one for both, like, do I need to go on a date night with my partner? Have I done that lately? Do I need to see a friend, go to the movies, find kind of a meeting group that meets every month or every week to get that support. And two, I tell my parents too that try and find a day and time every week for you and your kid to spend like 30 minutes together. I think about counseling and how kiddos come and see me every week at the same day and the same time. It's predictable. They know it's coming. They look forward to it. They look forward to coming. Um, do that with your kid too. Like maybe it's every Friday at 5, y'all do something together for 30 minutes and let them decide what that can be. It doesn't have to be an all-day thing. Just something to relate and to connect with that. That piece is really important. Okay, so we've made it to the end. So just like a summary of everything, of like your teen's brain is still developing, right? It's still developing that upstairs part of the brain. Safety and connection is really important. You are the co-regulator for them. You're a big part of their lives. Respond to their feeling, name how they're feeling, and also taking care of yourself. Okay. And here's just my contact information. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out. Or if you think I might be a good fit for your kiddo or teen, I'm happy to chat too.
Thanks, Sumaya.
You're so welcome.
I was thinking that I think everything you said really applies to kiddos too, the younger
Yes,
guys. Wouldn't you agree?
absolutely. That's why I love this information, because I think it's so helpful for any age,
Any age, yeah,
any age, even adults.
right. right. It was a good reminder. I really like the thermostat thermometer
Yeah.
analogy. I think I'm gonna use that.
Yes, please
Yeah.
do.
Well, thank you.
Welcome.
Think we're gonna go ahead and end, but feel free to contact Sumaya if you have any follow-up questions.
Yes, thank you so much, Tasha. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Everyone have a good day.
Thanks you all. Appreciate your time.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Yeah, thank you both.
Oh, of course. Thank you so much.
Hi, will the presentation be shared?
I believe it's recorded, so I think there will be a way to access the video later.
Okay, thank you.
I'll follow up and make sure that the high school counselors who put this together share that out in some way.
Thank
We'll
you.
get that to you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. Thank you,
Cool.
everybody.
Thank you so much.